FM 88.5, just for you.
From the nation's capital, good afternoon and welcome to King's News Broom, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, and I'm Newton Topa presenting stories we follow in this afternoon. Students of Harper Demonstration High School in Maryland County demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities. Accuse local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by a private group. Liberia Telecommunications Authority former chairman Abdullah Kamara released on US 295,000 criminal appearance bond minutes after his incarceration at Monrovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption-related charges. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberia People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to uphold integrity and principles. Councillor Tewon Gongo says Liberian media is being entrenched with cash for content practices. And away from home, Ivory Coast's former First Lady, Simone Gbagbo, 76, is the surprise inclusion in the list of 5 candidates who have been officially declared to contest next month's presidential election. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned amid Nepal's worst unrest in decades as public with police on Monday. These plus the news bulletins, our international developments are all packaged. We take a very short break. We will be right back. At this juncture, we cross over to Stephen Compton with the news bulletin.
More than 100 students of Harper Demonstration High School on Tuesday took to the streets in Harper to protest against what they termed local government's authority refusal to renovate their school. The public school students carrying placards chanting a slogan including "We want our school building, we want to go back to school, no building, no lesson for all." They expressed frustration over their exclusion from learning activities due to the deplorable condition of the school building. The protesting students also petitioned Maryland County local authorities to ensure the resumption of renovation works, which was initiated by the Bedell Foundation. According to a report, the Bedell Foundation has since halted the school renovation following that's an alleged stop order from Maryland County local authorities. Speaking on behalf of the students, Melvin Toll, Student Council Government President, questioned Maryland Superintendent Heron Cole about the decision to stop the renovation works. In response, Superintendent Cole said the government has issued and an order known halted the renovation as claimed, describing the situation as politics, adding that the Bedell Foundation did not consult local authorities before commencing the project. According to him, the ministry did not stop any renovation on the school, adding that he and their alumni members of the school 12 they facilitate and rescue funds for renovation through the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Former Liberia Telecommunication Authority Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Taman Corporation, Abdullah Kamara, has been released from the Monrovia Central Prison following a U.S. 295,000 criminal appearance bond filed by his legal team. The criminal appearance bond was filed by the former at the Monrovia Central Prison. Earlier on Tuesday, the Judiciary Circuit Criminal Court ordered the rearrest and subsequent detention of the former LTA boss at the Monrovia Central Prison. He rearrested and detention for the multiple corruption-related charges brought down against him and others by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. The charges, according to an LACC indictment, include economic sabotage, theft of property, misapplication of entrusted property, criminal facilitation, among other things. According to the LACC indictment, Camara and others alleged it misused public funds and also falsified official records, which says violates Section 15.50 and 15.81 of the Liberia Penal Code. Meanwhile, Camara's release now sets the stage for what many are calling a high-profile trial at the criminal court. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, has challenged Liberian journalists to uphold the principle of ethical journalism and resist what he called growing trend of cash for content practices. In a statement issued on Tuesday, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo emphasized the critical role of journalism in democratic societies, describing it as a noble profession that shines light in dark places, holds public officials accountable, and empowers citizens with the truth. He had ever expressed a concern over what he described as the increase of unethical practices within the Liberian media landscape, particularly the acceptance of financial incentives in exchange for favorable coverage of politicians and influential figures. Councillor Gonglo warned that such a conduct, which he termed as cash for content politics, undermines the credibility of the press, compromises the integrity of a journalist, and poses a serious threat to democratic governance. He argued that such practice is a form of missionary to journalism used to distort public discourse and weakens national institutions. Nema County Senator Samuel Koga risks being arrested for refusing to honor his that's 65,025 United States dollars judgment from Supreme Court in connection to an action of Davos. The Davos action, according to our judiciary correspondent, was instituted by his wife, Madam Romentat Yodat Koga, who is seeking to end the yellow liquor contract with him. The Sixth Judicial Circuit Court, Monserrado County, known as Civil Law Court, granted Madam Kogar's action of Davos with the amount in question, but the Nema County Senator rejected the court's decision with an appeal to the Supreme Court. He later lost the appeal when the High Court reaffirmed the subordinate court's decision in favor of his wife and with a mandate to the subordinate court to reinforce its judgment regarding the matter. Since the High Court's decision was announced months ago, our judiciary correspondent said that the Nema County senator is refusing to accept the decision by the court. U.S. Treasury Affairs Joseph Zadronin on Tuesday met with Liberia's Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustin Gafwan, to discuss the country's readiness for a critical visit from the Millennium Challenge Corporation. The MCC delegation are expected to arrive in the country to determine whether Liberia qualifies for a second MCC compact, something considered an opportunity for the country. According to a release issued by the U.S. Embassy near Monrovia, the meeting underscored growing U.S. concern over Liberia's slow pace of reform and raised the danger for a government that has struggled to deliver on its promises of economic transformation. The U.S. embassy further that at the center of Tuesday's meeting was Liberia's potential re-eligibility for a second MCC compact. The first compact, which concluded in 2021, focused on infrastructure, particularly in electricity and road system. Despite the U.S. has indicated its readiness to continue engagement, it's not automatic and depends heavily on Liberia's performance in key governance and economic indicators. The National Lottery Authority has expressed concerns regarding recent media publications which claim massive corruption, nepotism, illegal employment, intimidation of staff, and arbitrary dismissal within the authority. In a release issued Tuesday, NLA termed the report as unfounded and misleading. The release added that as a public institution mandated to oversee the development and management of gaming and gambling activities across the country, the NLA operates on the strict regulatory framework and adheres to principles of transparency, accountability, and good governance. Authorities of the NLA also deny claims of financial misapplication and maintained that all financial transactions, procurement processes, and project implementation are carried out in accordance with Public Financial Management Act, the Public Procurement Act, and other relevant regulations. According to a release, the administration of the authority has written the General Auditing Commission to launch a comprehensive audit of the agency's account and our businesses' transaction with gambling companies, including casinos, sports betting, slot machine, and other promotional competitions in Liberia. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Ways, Means, and Finance, Prince Mwe, says the Liberian government is losing millions in United States dollars by allowing private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products. The Bond County Senator argued that there is a need for the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company, the corporation, to explain how it regulates some of its statutory responsibility to private companies in the country. According to Senator Mui, Liberia is the only country in West Africa that allows private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products. Addressing a press conference at his Capitol building office Tuesday, Senator Moid vowed to present a communication to the plenary of the Liberian Senate for the intervention in the matter upon resumption of the national legislature. The New Life Discovery Center has called on the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency and the Ministry of Health, Youth and Sports to organize a national conference in order to deliberate on challenges in combating the widespread of drug abuse in the country. Coordinator of the center, Jefferson Naft, said the fight against drugs in Liberia is not holistic, expressing disbelief in the government achieving its desire of eliminating drug smuggling and abuse in the country. He also cautioned the newly appointed interim leadership at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, the Ministries of Health, Youth and Sports, to give his approval a timely consideration. He noted that the national conference should be attended by stakeholders to advance proposals and take concrete steps in addressing the drug problem in the country. And the Liberia Labour Congress has the government of deliberately denying the rights of civil servants, including teachers, health workers, to join the Liberia Labour Congress. John Human, Nat, and Mbatu Secretary General of International Organized the organization Liberia Labour Congress said the Congress has officially filed its report covering activities between 2024 and 2025 to the International Labour Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. It disclosed that the report contained complaints to the ILO that the Liberian government has failed to abide by the international protocol and uphold government freedom of labor organization to unite. In an interview with reporters Tuesday, Nat also accused the Ministry of Labor of intentionally working with a splitter of the LLC, which is not reorganized by the ILO. The news bulletin is back to you.
Stephen Compton with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a record of featured here on King's News Broom. What if you just joining us? A reminder, you listen to King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. I'm Newton to representing. Stories we're following this afternoon. Students of Harper Demonstration High School in Maryland County demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities, accused local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by private group. Liberia Telecommunications Authority former chairman Abdullah Kamara released on US 295,000 criminal appearance bond minutes after incarceration at the Monrovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption-related charges. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberia People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to support and uphold integrity and principles. Councillor Tewin Gonglo says Liberian media is being entrenched with cash for content practices. And away from Liberia, Africa's former First Lady Simone Gbagbo, 76, is the surprise inclusion in the list of 5 candidates who have been officially declared to contest next month's presidential election. Prime Minister KP Shaman Oli has resigned amid Nepal's worst unrest in decades as public anchored mounts over the deaths of over 19 anti-corruption protesters and clashes with police on Monday. We'll take another short break when we come back. We'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back. On our first development this afternoon, more than 100 students of Harper Demonstration High School on Tuesday took to the streets in Harper, Meridian County to protest against what they term as local government authority refusal to renovate their school. The public school students carrying placards chanted slogans including "We want our building," "We want to go to school," "No building, no lesson for all." They expressed frustration over their exclusion from learning activities due to the deplorable condition of the school building. The protesting students also petitioned Meridian County local authorities to ensure the resumption of renovation works, which was initiated by the BDF Foundation. According to a report, the BDF Foundation has since halted the school renovation following an alleged stop order from Meridian County local authorities. Speaking on behalf of the students, Marvin Toe, Student Council Government President, questioned Meridian County Superintendent Heron Co about the decision to stop the renovation works.
Okay, I'm Student Melvin Aspect Gale Jr., president of the school and also head of the team that is protesting today. Yeah, we are in the school because our building is uploaded. You can see our building now. They have scattered our building, no see nothing, not in the school. We just taking the house. For the time the school was banned, not just say for the time they pay for the school was funded, the government, we are going to issue that we need renovation, we need renovation, we need renovation. Every day we are seeking for renovation. The government refuse to renovate our school. Today, we learn how August American keep for nowhere and ask to renovate the school. While they know the project, the local government, which of course they receive those the office of the Ministry of Education, between the civil government, they stop the renovation. But while they know what they do, they need BOQ, which of course they do a business of property. And what they need, they not provide all necessary property, but still, the government still will stop the renovation of the school. Today we are out to let the government know that we are citizens of this country and we need a better education. Because as we get from the Constitution of 1986, we say that, Roger said, chapter 6 verse 1, we say that all citizens of this country need better education, quality, and what? So, as you can see, the material now, we don't have a quality institution. Our belly is poor. For the time that we need the belly, they all need the belly, we are better down for the past 2 months now. Why are we for better education, quality education? We want for the government to immediately renovate our belly before we can come down. We need for our belly to be renovated. And secondly, we want for all the students that are within the grade to help us to guide us in the line so that the government can see reason to renovate our belly.
But in response, Superintendent Cole said the government has issued or hasn't issued any order or halted the renovation as claimed, describing the situation as politics, adding that the BDF Foundation did not consult local authorities before commencing the project. According to him, the ministry did not stop any renovation on the school, adding that he and other alumni members of the school toured the facility and secured funds for renovation through the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Government, the local government have not stopped any renovation. You hear me? The local government did not stop any renovation. What they are doing with you, they are playing politics with you. I'm not prepared for politics. I came to this country for the purpose of development. The people went to the school. The procedure is you have to tell me what you intend to do. First of all, I saw demonstration school as an alumni together with some of our colleagues in the United States. And we saw that the school was very discouraging. So what we did was that we decided to meet the Ministry of Education. We met the ministry and they told us they didn't have any plans for now to fix the school. So we did a tour of the school and we found out that there was a need for the school to be repaired. So we did the communication with the Ministry of Internal Affairs so that the country can have it as a priority project. The ministry have consented and the money has been made available. Before that, we saw that the local foundation went to the school. Now, we told them to come to us so we can dialogue together on what they intend to do to the school. The local foundation has not come to us to discuss. Yesterday, the Global Foundation, the owner of the business, owner of the foundation, apologized for the level that they are taking. I just spoke to him 10 minutes ago because they told them that school is the school of this country and it's in the center of this country. So what we will do is that we'll follow for them what are they able to do because they cannot do the entire building. That whole building is damaged. So we will do the building and we asked them to come. He just told me Monday they were coming. He got on, he said he forgot. So 12 o'clock today, the people will be coming to me.
He's Meriden County Superintendent Heron Cole. Earlier, you heard the voice of the Student Council President Marvin Toole, who spoke earlier. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tewan Gonglu, has challenged Liberian journalists to uphold the principles of ethical journalism and resist what he challenged or called growing trend of cash for content practices. In a statement issued on Tuesday, Councillor Gonglo emphasized the critical role of journalism in democratic societies, describing it as a noble profession that shines light in dark places, hold public officials accountable, and empowers citizens with the truth. He, however, expressed concern over what he described as the increase of unethical practices within the Liberian media landscape, particularly the acceptance of financial incentives in exchange for favorable coverage for politicians and other influential figures.
If there's any lawyer in Liberia who should speak for and against journalists, it should be me. Why I say so? I have the credibility to do so. I have been a defender of the press and the actors in the press, journalists, from the 1990s up to now. One of the reasons I went to jail in 2002 was my effort in releasing journalists from jail all of the time and speaking for them whenever they were in trouble. Getting them out of police cell, going to the magistrate courts, everywhere. I even drafted the law that is called the Kamara law today. But we fought for press freedom so that the press can be used to inform, educate, and entertain the Liberian people and residents here. Sadly, today, some journalists have decided to use the profession for money making. Money making is not bad, but when you make money to undermine the development of Liberia, that's bad. Journalists that take money from government officials to kill bad stories about them. Journalists that take money from business people, bad business people, to kill stories about them. Journalists that take money to write bad stories about good people in society are the journalists that are called mercenary journalists. We don't need them. I'm prepared to keep fighting for journalists. I still do that today. But I really don't like mercenary journalists. They are a disservice to the profession. So today I ask all Liberians in and out of government to join me to denounce mercenary journalism. It is bad, it's not good for our country. We didn't fight for press freedom, for people to use the press as a money-making thing against public interest, against the interests of our society.
He's renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of the Liberian People's Party, Councillor Tewan Gonglo, they're speaking. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Waste, Means and Finance, Prince Moise, says the Liberian government is losing millions in the United States dollars, but allowing private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products. The Bond County Senator argued that there is a need for the Liberian Petroleum Refinery Corporation to explain how it regulated some of its statutory responsibility to private companies in the country. Addressing a press conference, Senator Moy said Liberia is the only country in that's the West African sub-region that allow private companies to engage in the storage of petroleum products.
The country has lost significantly to storage fees that has been charged over the period to private owners and other terminus owners that are in the business of storing petroleum products in the country. So when this investigation was done, it was not limited to Liberia as a case study. We took information from neighboring countries, specifically Sierra Leone. We went outside the South region. We took information, credible information. We had experts advising us so that we're not bringing anything before the plenary for approval that will come back to haunt the plenary. So we noticed that there were functions that LPRC, as a regulatory agency of the government and SOEs, and which their major line of revenue is only storage as per their function, was giving individuals and companies that build tanks in the country a blanket storage fee that they weren't performing the duties that LPRC performing, and then they were all collecting the same money. So we decided to look into that. After we looked into that and found out from the neighboring country, we found out that Sierra Leone right here, a storage fee per a gallon of gas costs $2.58. $2.58. Just next door Sierra. And it applies to other countries at different levels. Even the great Nigeria, they are far below. So we invited the Ministry of Commerce and tell us why they have continued to charge storage fee from 20 cents during the past government, went to 30 cents, and then this government brought it back, took it back again to 35 cents.
He's Bond County Senator Prince Moide speaking. The New Life Recovery Center has called on the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency and the Ministries of Health, Youth and Sports to organize a national conference in order to deliberate on the challenges in combating the widespread of drug abuse in the country. The coordinator of the center, Jefferson Knight, said the fight against drugs in Liberia is not holistic, expressing disbelief in the government achieving its desire of eliminating drug smuggling and abuse in the country. Knight cautioned the newly appointed interim leadership at the LDEA, the Ministries of Health, Youth and Sports, to give his personnel and a timely consideration. He noted that the national conference should be attended by stakeholders to advance proposals and take concrete steps in addressing the drug problems in the country.
To just break down ghettos and the drugs users and addicts are all over the streets, communities, villages, and towns, and they're not being put into rehab center. It just undermine the entire fight. So that's why we are saying it is very important at this stage for the LDEA, the Liberian government, the Ministry of Health, to organize a stakeholder meeting or like a drug conference on the way forward and bring these stakeholders, service providers together. It's not about people who want seeing this as an opportunity for making money overnight. You know, that's why I've been undermining this fight. That's why I've been undermining the fight, especially the ones that hear about money being given by the international community or the government has a budget of $2 million. Then people from inside these institutions, it has been alleged that you begin to see them organizing bookers organizations with their friends outside, and those monies are siphoned to those organizations, and nothing happens to the fight. So there are organizations who are on the ground, who have been on the ground with the experience, like some of us and other groups, work with these institutions, bring them on the table, let's chart a new course, let's chart a new direction. That puts strategies, mechanisms into place that will address this thing. Because this drug issue, just imagine for the last 2 months, we have documented deaths related to drug issue. The spark and die, another new drug or the just enforced that drug that the young people are being victimized of. It's serious. So the Bwaka administration should be able to look into that. The Ministry of Health, the LDEA, and all the different sectors responsible for fighting this thing. All Liberian churches, mosques, the religious community, parents, schools, we all need to come together to see, because one of the breeding ground for the recruitment of drug addicts in our country is the schools.
He's the New Life Recovery Center coordinator, Jefferson Knight, speaking. What if you just joining us with the time half past the hour? A reminder, you're listening to King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we're following this afternoon. Students of Harper Demonstration High School in Maryland County demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities, accuse local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by a private group. Liberian Telecommunications Authority, former Chairman Abdullah Kamara released a US $295,000 criminal appearance bond minutes after his incarceration at the Monrovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption-related charges. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberian People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to uphold integrity and principles. Councillor Tewan Gonglo says Liberian media is being entrenched with cash for content practices. And away from Liberian Africa's former First Lady, Simone Gbagbo, 76, is the surprise inclusion in the list of 5 candidates who have been officially declared to contest next month's presidential election. Prime Minister KP Shaman Ali has resigned amid Nepal's worst unrest in decades as public anchored mounts over the deaths of 19 anti-corruption protesters in clashes with police on Monday. We take another short break. When we come back, we continue with more forces. The Liberal Labour Congress has deliberated denying the rights of civil servants, including teachers and health workers, to join Liberia Labour Congress. John Nat, an embattled Secretary General of internationally recognized Liberia Labour Congress, said the Congress has officially forwarded its reports covering activities between 2024 and 2025 to the International Labour Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. It is disclosed that the report contained complaint to the ILO that the Liberian government has failed to abide by the international protocols and uphold government freedom of labor organization. Accused the Ministry of Labor of internationally working with as part of the LLC, which is not recognized by the ILO.
We sent our report to the ILO, the International Labour Organization for the Workers of Liberia. The report was sent last week because the international body, the ADRAC Bureau for Workers, asked us to submit our report to the ILO, and we did. Basically, what is happening in Liberia from 2020 up to present, put up in details what is happening, interference of government not respecting the ILO Convention 87 and 98, which call for freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining for public sector workers, denying the right of public sector workers to form or join a union or trade union. Already, the public sector workers, being a member of the Liberia Labour Congress in 2019, they've been paying dues, but our colleagues, 2023, they went to the court, and the former Minister of Labor, Charles Gibson, took the charade and said that he's the minister, sent the decision from the Supreme Court, said we'll go for re-election. The opinion of the Supreme Court was not adhered to. So we've, the leadership that were in power right now in 2022, when the government took over, we went to the Minister of Labor, we had a series of meetings with him, and we told him that there's a red flag. The former minister who was here, the then God who were here, they never treated us fair, and besides that, the way he conducted the election, it was interference, and he told SAR. And so when you as a minister to look into it, and the minister told us that he cannot undo what his predecessor did. So we question asking, if your predecessor did wrong, you cannot undo, correct it? He said no. Fortunately for us, the international partner, the ILO, other partners came in 2024, had a series of meetings with all the stakeholders, and they advised this government through the Ministry of Labor to make sure that the crisis at the Labor Congress, it should come to an end, that the two parties should come together. The only way they will work with the other side, that headed by one Michael Blama, the anti-union people from 2023 that was put in the office by Charles Gibson, unless they come back to us. They recognize our leadership, and that is why we've been working along with our international partner up to present.
He's John Nat, the embattled Secretary General of Liberia Labour Congress. A man believed to be in his 60s named Randolph Th is making an urgent appeal to humanitarians and local authorities to support as he struggles to treat himself of cancer. Randolph Th, a resident of Police Academy community, says he has been suffering from the condition for about a year. According to him, the illness began with what felt like a sudden bomb on his back, adding that after seeking medical attention at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital, lab results confirmed that he suffered from sarcoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer.
started last September with a little bump on my back. It was a kister, so they said, Daddy, something is going on your back. And I didn't think good of that. I never knew that. It's not the big. And all of a sudden, we started growing. It grew as big as an orange. And I went to GFK. Well, I was still on my back at first, and I started bleeding. I went to GFK. They used to wash the soap. So they one period is that my country let me down. I worked for so many years. The benefit I supposed to enjoy my old age is taken from me. And I start life all over. I'm a big disappointment because when you work, it is the retirement benefit is where you live at. So where do I get it? And the children that I have that put by themselves.
A man of Poly Academy community appealing to well-meaning Liberians and humanitarians for assistance. And away from Liberia, Africa's former First Lady Simone Gbagbo, 76, is the surprise inclusion in a list of 5 candidates who have been officially declared to contest next month's presidential election. She will run against President Alassane Ouattara, 83, who took power after she and her former husband, Laurent Gbagbo, were captured in a presidential bunker during the conflict that hit the country after the 2010 election. But the ex-president has been banned from contesting the poll, along with ex-Prime Minister Pascal Affi Nagushin and ex-Credit Suisse Bank CEO Tijani Thiam. Their qualification has raised concerns about the legitimacy of the 25th October vote and has sparked fears of instability. Prime Minister KP Shaman Oli has resigned amid Nepal's worst unrest in decades as public anger mounts over the deaths of 19 anti-corruption protesters in clashes with police on Monday. On Tuesday, crowds set fire on parliament in the capital Kathmandu, sending thick black smoke bellowing into the sky. Government buildings and houses of political leaders were attacked around the country. 3 more deaths were reported on Tuesday. Amid the chaos, jailed officials said 900 inmates managed to escape from 2 prisons in Nepal's western districts. The demonstration was triggered by the ban on social media platforms. It was lifted on Monday, but by then, protesters had swelled into mass movement. On that note, I would like to go home this afternoon on this edition of King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Just before we go home this afternoon, let's remind you of stories we've been following. Students of Harper Demonstration High School in Maryland County demand immediate renovation of school building and commencement of learning activities, accused local authorities of halting renovation works initiated by private group. Liberia Telecommunications Authority former chairman Abdullah Kamara released on US $295,000 criminal appearance bond minutes after incarceration at Monrovia Central Prison for economic sabotage and other corruption-related charges. Renowned human rights lawyer and political leader of Liberian People's Party challenges Liberian journalists to uphold integrity and principles. Councillor Tewan Gonglo says Liberian media is being entrenched with cash for content practices. And away from home, Ivory Coast former First Lady Simone Gbagbo, 76, is the surprise inclusion in a list of 5 candidates that have been officially declared to contest next month's presidential election. Prime Minister KP Shaman Oli has resigned amid Nepal's worst unrest in decades as public anger mounts over the deaths of 19 anti-corruption protesters in clashes with police on Monday. These are stories we follow here this afternoon on King's Newsroom. Stephen Compton was here with the news bulletin while Janet Pessima sat at controls and coordinated the sounds. I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package. Our sources better still join us this evening at 6 o'clock, at which time we'll be offended a splendid edition. My name is Newton Tukwa. I presented this edition of the program. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye-bye.